the U.S. CENTCOM commander arriving in Israel ahead of the president's trip tomorrow, as the Pentagon puts more than 2,000 troops on standby while Marines are sent off the coast of Israel as a show of force against Iran and Hezbollah. Now we're joined by former NATO Supreme Allied Commander General Philip Breedlove. General, your thoughts about why it's taken so long to get the ground incursion going, and does it relate at all to the president's visit?
Well, first of all, Brian, thanks for having me on Fox and Friends. I think that we shouldn't be looking at it like it has taken so long. I like to look at it like Israel is doing its job in preparing. This is going to be an incredibly tough mission, as you know, and with the hostages scattered all in the conflict, trying to do this in a responsible way, it's going to take time. And frankly, you and I don't know what's happening behind the scenes in the political sense. So I'm not fretting over how long it's taken.
Good. 7.5 hours, Israel and U.S. officials met, separate rooms, passed papers back and forth, and evidently President Biden wouldn't commit to going until the Israelis committed to a humanitarian game plan. Is that smart? You want to read between the lines there?
Well, I think, again, you have talked about it on your show that the real game now is almost all about the PR campaign. Hamas knows they're not going to win this military engagement. What they want to do is to turn the world against Israel. They dash into Israel and do some of the most heinous crimes we've seen in our time. And then they dash back, and now it's all about setting the stage to make Israel look like the aggressor and, quote unquote, the bad guy in this conflict.
So the president's going to the region right after the Secretary of State went to Saudi Arabia. He went to Qatar, he went to Egypt, and he went to Jordan. And evidently he got the cold shoulder in Saudi Arabia. He got a history lecture in Egypt, and he's got no tangible gains from Qatar. Is this why the president's going? Because the Secretary of State seems to have not been able to make any inroads? Or what else do you think it is?
Well, Brian, I actually believe it's a little different. I think that what we have seen over the past few years is that American leadership and Western leadership, for that matter, has been in decline. We have been slowly backing away from things. And I think now that the president is going to Middle East to try to reassert Western and certainly American leadership in the region, I think this is a time where it's important that the West read also the United States leads.
Right. And you just think this is all a fallout from Afghanistan. And this president, in many ways, I don't want to put words in your mouth, in many ways is trying to rehab from that decision.
Yeah, you know, I don't like to do politics, Brian, but I would just say that we have a trail of decisions and actions across the past decade or so, and this is multiple administrations, not just this one, whereby America has been retreating from leadership positions in the world. And I think this may be the first step to try to reassert some of that leadership.
There's a couple of things. It looks from your military experience, does it look like a certainty that Hezbollah is getting into the north as soon as the Israelis go to the south? Because overnight we'd see that Hamas military headquarters got struck. We know that the Hertz also seem to have hit a weapons depot in Hezbollah. Do you think that the Israelis have already concluded that Hezbollah is going to be coming in from the north?
Well, I believe that Israel and the IDF are very intelligent and smart about how they handle the north. You've seen this in the Golan Heights and along the strip of Lebanon before. And I think they're preparing by getting people out of there so that if they have to take action in the north, they'll be free to move and they'll not have to worry about their own civilians or others in that northern area. So what I see is an IDF that is being smart about preparation for what they feel could be an attack from the north. The
Wall Street Journal writes that Russia and China are celebrating that there's a diversion away from Ukraine and maybe from Taiwan, and who knows what North Korea is up to. Do you think this works to Russia's advantage in the Ukraine, that we're focused for this moment on Israel?
Well, if you've seen across the past 5 or 6 days, some of the most tough action in this battle in the east in Ukraine have been going on. Russia has been using this time where the world's eyes are diverted to Israel to do some of their toughest attacks. And indications right now that some of the actions of the Russians in the north may have culminated not in their favor.